Hi, this is Nathan from I Need IVF. In this video we're going to look at luteinizing hormone. So what is luteinizing hormone? So luteinizing hormone is a hormone which is produced in the anterior pituitary gland, and it's produced by the gonadotropic cells. It's a hormone that works very closely with follicle stimulating hormone, FSH. Luteinizing hormone has a surge which causes the development of a temporary part in your ovary called the corpus luteum. What that does is that stimulates progesterone and estrogen production, and it sort of occurs in the luteal phase, so the back end of a woman's menstrual cycle, and importantly, it triggers ovulation. Now, in men, LH, which is obviously luteinizing hormone, is also produced. It's produced in exactly the same place as women, but it is really important in the release and regulation of testosterone. In a very simple way, it creates a negative feedback loop which either inhibits or encourages the release of testosterone. And it does that by acting on the Leydig cells, which are the cells which create testosterone within your testes. Now, luteinizing hormone itself, it's a monomeric glycoprotein hormone. It's sort of split into two units. Now, one of the units is exactly the same as your FSH and your HCG hormone, but the second unit is sort of where it differs, and it's the differences in this second unit that give it its distinct properties and allow it to actually react with the luteinizing hormone receptors that are within your body. One of the interesting things about it is it has a biologic half-life of only 20 minutes, so it doesn't actually last long in your system. Now, I'm going to put a graph up on the screen now, and this is looking at sort of the normal levels of luteinizing hormone over the lifespan of a woman, over sort of the entire lifespan. It starts very low in children. It increases to the normal levels as women reach puberty and through her reproductive years, and then it keeps on rising as she enters the menopause. LH levels in women of reproductive age are normally between 1 and 20 international units per litre, with a very high peak for 48 hours during ovulation, after which it sort of comes back to normal, as you can see within that graph. Now, those coloured bits on the graph show the variation by cycle. They show the variation between women. That's because women don't have a perfect 28-day cycle. That is one of the things that you will find quite frustrating as you go through your fertility journey, because everything's written as though you have a perfect 28-day cycle. Your blood tests are designed for a perfect 28-day cycle, but not everyone is. So understanding more about your hormone levels within your body and where they fit in and why they come out allows you to make sure that you go for your blood tests and things at the right point. So in men, those that are over 18 have a normal range of LH between 1.8 and 8.6 international units per litre. So it's quite, it's still a fair amount, so it is important in both. Medical conditions can actually have an impact on your LH levels, and having too much or too little can actually seriously impact your fertility. So those who have elevated levels of luteinizing hormone, they can be people with PCOS. It's quite common for people with PCOS to experience elevated levels of luteinizing hormone, which is why it impacts ovary development, why it impacts ovulation. A rare one called Turner syndrome can impact LH. And if you have any problems with your pituitary gland, that can also have an impact on LH production. So those that have low levels of LH are those with hypopituism, so those that have a low level of pituitary function. And eating disorders can also cause problems with LH. And a high level of OH can actually increase testosterone in women, which can also lead to infertility or subfertility. So LH is quite a complex one. It's only released at certain times, but how can it actually be used in your sort of conception journey? Well, LH can be a really, really good predictor of your ovulation window. And by that is when you are most fertile. So again, I'm going to put another image up on screen, and this is ovulation dipsticks. So they are dipped into the urine and they give an indication of the level of LH within your system. And as it reaches the sort of test line, so where it's really, really dark, that means that you are likely to ovulate within 24 to 48 hours and you should be your most fertile. Now, one of the things that people do make a mistake with the ovulation test strips is that they see any line, just like you would in a pregnancy, and they take that as a positive result. That's not true. The test line has to be as dark or darker than the control line for it to be a positive LH surge. So that's really, really important. So I do see sort of 3 to 5 days before your expected date of ovulation. Obviously, not all women have a really even menstruation. They can have it that's long, short, mixed. So some people have to use it for longer. But when you do get that dark line, it's a really good indicator that you're due to ovulate. One of the things that you do have to take into consideration is if you do have something like PCOS or other conditions that impact or elevate LH, your ovulation strips are unlikely to be accurate, and you need to find alternative ways of monitoring your ovulation. So you could use basal body temperature or core temperature to do that. So LH is also used in assisted reproduction. I'm going to put a card up here to a link for a section about all the medications that are used in IVF, which is about what they do, how they impact you, which my partner Rachel did. So LH is a gonadotropin, as is FSH, and its main use in assisted reproduction is in the stimulation phase of IVF. There are two types of drugs, phallotropins and human menopausal gonadotropins, and the ones that contain LH are the latter ones, the HMGs, and they contain a mixture of LH and FSH. In the UK, these include Menopur and Menorial, and these medications are used to stimulate follicular growth and the maturing of your eggs and follicles and your eggs within those follicles. So this process is normally done for sort of 7 to 12 days, depending on how you react to this medication type and what protocol you're on. If you enjoyed the video, please smash that like button and make sure to subscribe if you are interested in learning more.